Hello, and welcome to the Simply Business Interview Podcast, a podcast created by business owners for business owners. I am your host, John Jennings. I believe that most business owners are working way too hard for much too little. And one of our issues is that we overcomplexify things. I believe the answers are almost always within us or within our reach. I like to say that I'm a simple man with simple ideas. So welcome to Simply Business. All right, today we are joined by Dan Ratterman. He's one of the founders of Shady Rays, and Shady Rays is it's a cool story of just entrepreneurship. Their startup and founding story is really, I find it interesting and encouraging. So, Dan, welcome to the podcast. And if you would just kind of start, just tell us your role today at Shady Rays, and then we'll jump into kind of your how you all got started.
Yeah, thanks so much, John. Happy to be here and appreciate you having me on today. So Shady Rays, how we got started, it really goes back to about 2012, 2013, and identifying a problem in the sunglasses industry. At the time, there was what was happening in the sunglass industry is there was big name brands that many people were purchasing from for $150, $200, $250 plus dollars. And so many people would lose or break their sunglasses. And they were forced with this dilemma, this decision to make. And that's either to go purchase another pair of expensive sunglasses or go to a gas station to buy a very cheap pair that may fall apart in a few days. And my brother, Chris, is the one that really identified this problem in the industry and set out to try to fix that. And started, doing some testing and doing some work to determine, hey, what if there was a business that instead of offering something really expensive or really cheap, what if we met in the middle and got something that still has the high quality, still has, all the features that somebody wants in an expensive sunglass, but offers it for a fraction of the price. And with all the issues of lost and broken sunglasses, being able to support that customer so that when people inevitably do go live their life, whether that's driving to and from work or out on a boat or out on a hike, when they have that problem, lost and broken sunglasses, they don't have to have that frustration of trying to figure out how to get another pair or spend a lot of money on another pair. They can come back to us and say, hey, lost or broken, and we will, for a very, for a small fee, just ship it out to them and make sure we always have their back. And in addition to that, give back to the hungry with every order as well. So some type of do good initiative to make the company mean more than just providing sunglasses. And started trying to see what customers' feedback would be for with that kind of concept, and it really latched on. Customers started really appreciating that kind of service and realized, hey, there might actually be a business here. So to answer your question more directly, my role in the business has shifted quite a bit over time. Today, I'm COO of Shady Rays and oversee a lot of different aspects of the business, from fulfillment to supply chain, customer service, HR, retail operations, in addition to an awesome team that we have. But in the early days, it was just trying to make sure the one or two orders that come through get out the door.
Yeah. And you were telling me you were in college at the time, and you'd come home from school and see one order, five orders, whatever, and you'd package them up there in your living room and get them out.
Yeah, exactly. And it's cool to think about because today, right, we have a large team. We have over 150 employees. We have retail stores all around the country. We have a large fulfillment center in Kentucky with, up to 80 plus people just in the fulfillment center alone packing out orders. But if you go back to, the early days, it was a very different story. We had really no full-time employees, and there was maybe, like you mentioned, maybe one order, maybe two orders, maybe zero orders in a day. And at that time, I was actually in college, and my brother was working on Shady Rays just on the side from his kind of real full-time job. And the living room was the fulfillment center, and we had a little card table set up there. And if you can envision this, right, just a standard living room, but yeah, a little card table next to the fireplace. We had a little bookshelf with some sunglasses on it, some different boxes. And when an order would come through, we'd either my brother or me or my mom or my dad would pack up an order, and my dad typically or mom would drive it to the post office at the end of each day. And it was funny. I was studying industrial engineering at the time, and if you're familiar with that, it's all about efficiency and operations,
Hmm.
and how to make things just a little bit better each day. I came home from college for Christmas break, um, and was watching my dad pack a couple orders, and I was like, man, this seems like there's some opportunity for improvement here. I said, hey, Dad, why don't you can pack a couple orders, and I'm going to time you. And I got out a stopwatch, and I was like, I'm going to do a time study for the work that for all two orders in the system. And he sat there, and he's packing the orders. I've got a little clipboard, my stopwatch, and I'm timing every single step of the process.
Yeah.
And I said, hey, once he did that, I said, give me about 2 hours and let me revamp this and then come back and pack a couple more. So I got out the label maker. I set up this workstation to be perfectly efficient, perfectly optimized to go from left to right, everything labeled, everything 5S and Lean Six Sigma right in its place for perfect efficiency and flow. And he came back and I said, all right, pack a couple more orders. Timed him on that. And I was like, he finished it. And I'm like, Dad, I just improved your process by 300%. He's like, Dan, I'm packing like 2 orders a day right now. And I'm like, okay, that's true. But one day, these few seconds on each order, that's gonna actually make a difference. And
Right.
that's been a theme of really our team and our business every single day is just how can we make things just a little bit better each and every day. And over
Yeah.
the course of multiple years, it's taken us a long way. But what we talk about, and we have a leader on our team who uses this phrase all the time. I've stolen it from him, but it's that we're not trying to hit home runs. We really just try to hit singles and doubles. And if we can get a
Yeah.
single or double every day, we're going to win the game.
Yeah.
But it's not the big flashy wins that sound good and look good. It's just where can we make some minor tweaks every single day to just get a little bit better? And sometimes those tweaks don't make us better. Sometimes we think it might make us better and it actually moves
All
us.
right. I was
But
almost thinking you were going to say that with the dad story. Like he came back and he couldn't find anything, so it took him
yeah,
twice as long.
he could, yeah, there might have been some of that. He's like, where'd this go again? But don't worry, I had the label maker out, so you just gotta, as long as you can read, you're pretty good in that one.
Yeah.
And we actually still we have that card table, that computer, that chair is actually sitting in our fulfillment center now. Our fulfillment center now is about 75,000 square feet, but
Yeah.
in
It's a
the corner of
beautiful
it, we've got
place. I see it from the highway every time I
yeah,
drive by
right
there.
along I-64 East. You can see it going out that direction, which is pretty cool.
Yeah. Yeah, that's crazy. So, yeah, it's kind of like the 1% rule. If you can just improve by 1% and, just continue to do that, whether it's every day or every week, whatever, over time, that compounding effect is huge. And if you're just
Exactly.
always looking for that, 1% better, it's amazing what you can do.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, talk about the tipping point of when you all realize, okay, this is no longer a side gig, this is real. How did that decision come about, and what were some of the pain points there?
Yeah, yeah, for sure. And it's a great question because we have grown so fast each and every year. And with that growth, there's a level of excitement that's amazing and what we're striving for and always are striving for. But also, as we're doubling and tripling, in certain years, there's also new challenges that come up. There's new bottlenecks that arise. So we're always working to fix and be
Mhm.
proactive to prevent any of those challenges. But yeah, it was, 2017, 2018 when the business, it got to a point where, the family living room wasn't quite making the cut.
Yeah.
And that came in multiple parts of the business. Or my brother, he's a marketing genius, I would say. I don't know. He
Mhm.
might say don't say genius, but he's great at marketing and um, so he's figuring out how to just continue to expand sales through social media marketing and different routes. Where my focus was at the time was that we were using a 3PL for fulfillment, which if
Mhm.
you're probably familiar with that, but basically we had outsourced our distribution, where we just
Mhm.
pay a few dollars per order and somebody else holds the inventory and ships it to the customer. Well, we were growing at a rate to where that 3PL it was a smaller 3PL, but they couldn't support our Black Friday sales and
Oh,
started having delays and started having some challenges. And it was around 2018 that my brother and I were talking and saying, hey, most companies use a 3PL because they don't want to
yeah.
have to in-house that side of the business. It's something that many companies don't have an expertise in and don't want to take on. But we were like, hey, we know we need to move out of this 3PL. Either we need to find a larger, better 3PL that we can work with, or I would leave GE Appliances, which is where I was working before,
Hmm.
and would come in to start building our own and creating our own.
Hmm.
And it was a pretty easy decision. It was a very big decision, right? Because I was at one of the safest and best employers around of GE Appliances.
Yeah.
I have nothing but good things to say about, but also had an incredible opportunity to really work to build something and work with my brother is awesome. Um, so decided to jump in full time at that point, and uh, and that's where we went out. We toured some different buildings, and we found one out in Simpsonville. That was a build to suit. We literally had a random piece of printer paper sketching out what we wanted the layout to be.
Hmm.
We bought some racks for inventory, and when we got these racks delivered, we didn't really, we didn't really have any way to pay to assemble them. So,
Hmm.
right, I was like, well, I'll just assemble them myself, no worries. The salesperson told me that I could do it. I asked him, I was like, do we need to hire somebody to assemble these racks, or am I able to do it myself? He said, hey, as long as you have about 2 hours and a rubber mallet, you're good. So I said, all right, awesome. So I went to our warehouse, as we're getting ready to start our operation, and I'll never forget, I was standing there uh, with my rubber mallet, and 13 pallets of steel showed up at the door. Some of them with 12-foot long poles for these 12-foot racks. And I'm standing there with my orange rubber mallet, and I'm calling the salesperson to be like, how in the world did you think that I was going to assemble this? Of course, he was not answering the phone at this point. He was probably out
Yeah.
laughing. But we did scrappy things. I called, one of my best friends from college, and I was like, hey, I'll pay you in Zaxby's chicken sandwiches for breakfast, lunch, and dinner if you can come down here and help me assemble these racks. And had another guy who was on the team at the time, and we spent 4 straight days building these things from early morning to late night and put it all together. We then started hiring the team, and when we were hiring the team members for the fulfillment center, we weren't looking for people that had some long storied experience or fancy resumes. We were looking for people that could come in and do the little things right and do the fundamentals really, really well. People that
Mhm.
were consistent. They showed up on time every day. They got there. They got the work done. They did what they were supposed to do. They got along with the people around them. They were a good teammate. And those are the people that were successful at the time. And also, some of those exact people that started in that time are some of the leaders within our business today,
Oh, wow.
and continue to show
Awesome.
up and set that example of just doing the little things right. And that's been a theme of how we've grown. And now with the team of, around 150 people or more, um, not everybody has the most relevant or best experience. I mean, plenty of people have great experience, right? But
Mhm.
what I do know is that the people that are successful at Shady Rays are the people that are a good person and can come in and want to do the right thing and want to work hard. And those are the people that have makes our team and our business so great.
Yeah. Well, that and I really wasn't thinking about going there, but that is a problem that we're seeing everywhere. Everybody's having trouble finding good talent, and and it's a fulfillment center. It's not the sexiest job on the planet, right? It's pretty basic. So um, you're sounds like you are having success that a lot of other companies are not in finding good people. What do you attribute that to?
It's simple for us. I mean, we put a lot of emphasis on seeing people as people and just treating
Yeah.
people right. We have so many people that come into the business um, and they say, "Hey, this is the best place I've ever worked. This is the place where I feel valued. This is the place where I feel like I can really make a difference, and this is a place
Hmm.
where I feel like we're doing something positive for the world, both for the customers that we support and for the way that we give back to others." And it's again, it's the little things for us, right? We do small things. We want to have a positive work environment where people's voices are heard. We work to do things throughout the year to appreciate people and to give back to our employees where we can, and we actively listen. We are constantly looking for ways to hear what employees need and then take action to put things in place to make sure that this is a positive working relationship for them. And when you look at our team and the amount of people that have been with us for now many years, and continue to be with us and have desire to stay with Shady Rays, it's clear through those numbers that we feel like we're doing a lot right. Uh, and it's cool, but it's it's like a community effect. It's like if when somebody starts, right, I may talk to them and say, hey, you know, I can say everything I just said to you, but I'm like, go talk with other employees at the company and just get a pulse of their experience. And generally people
Yeah.
they're like, wow, this really is a place I want to be. And that's really a cumulative effect there. And just the last thing I'll add on that is, you know, we do a lot. We focus on people. We focus
Hmm.
on people, and that I'm kind of thinking about three categories of people, I guess you could say. One is our customer. We always do what we can to take care of our customer in any way possible, whether that's make sure they're seeing the right advertisement that's relevant to them, whether that's, hey, their order's in, let's make sure we pack this up and pack it correctly and pack it in a way that it's going to be a great presentation to them. It's
Hmm.
our team being there on the phones and there on the email if a customer reaches out so we can support them and go above and beyond to give them an incredible experience. That's, listening to our customers in retail stores when they have ideas for new products that they want, a new color that they want, taking that feedback. And we can't do every product that anybody ever asked for, but we certainly do our best to make sure that our selection can be a great, great option for
Hmm.
the customers that we have. The next group is our employees, and I just expand on that a lot. But I mean, our team, our employees that we have, they make up the business and make Shady Rays what it is. So always looking for ways to make sure that we have engaged employees and employees that continue to want to do the right thing and work hard to make Shady Rays the best that it can be, which is helps everybody win. And then lastly is the people that we support in the community. And we do that in several ways. From day one, we donate meals to the hungry with every order. From the very first order every placed. And that number now, we've now donated over 26 million meals to fight hunger in America.
Wow.
Um,
Wow.
and that's, of course, meaningful for everybody involved. It helps make the tougher days when there's bigger challenges we're working through more meaningful, knowing that, hey, we're
Mhm.
not just trying to get more sunglasses out the door, but we're actually making a positive impact in the world. But we
Right.
do it in ways that really are personal and you can really touch and feel and see. For example, we build play sets around the country for children with cancer.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, and we, a year or two ago, we outside of our Lexington store in Lexington, Kentucky, we had about 15 of our employees come to the store and spent about 4 hours physically building a big play set there in front of the store.
Mm.
And once we completed it, uh, there's a boy named Logan with leukemia, and he got to come up in a limo with his parents and his sister and get out of the limo and see this playset. And we had all written inspirational messages on it. And we had Ninja Turtles all over the playset. That's Logan's favorite toy. And and when he got out of the limo, right, for those few minutes, it was all
Yeah.
smiles and happy tears. And
Yeah.
you know, despite the fact that Logan was probably at the doctor that morning and potentially going back to the doctor that night, for that period, it was all smiles. He's running
Yeah.
around on the play set. He's playing with his sister. His parents are watching him. His family and friends are there watching him. And, looking at that circle around this play set, not only is it an incredible moment for Logan, but it's incredible for his family. And it's also incredible for the Shady Rays team that were there, knowing
Hmm.
that they're part of creating this experience for somebody who truly needs this kind of help the most.
Yeah. And I love that. And one thing I love about it is, I mean, there are companies that do that and then they plaster that everywhere. It's really a marketing shtick.
Hmm.
You guys, I mean, I get all your marketing stuff. I don't know. I fit your algorithm for some reason. I've been, you're in all my streams and reels and and everything, which I love, but y'all don't like put that out. You're not using it as a marketing thing. You're doing it as something. Obviously, this is something near and dear to you, and you're doing that in a real authentic way, and I love that. I really do.
Yeah, I
Uh,
mean, this is the stuff that really matters the most. And we want our customers to come with us on this journey and be a part of this. But ultimately, it's not we don't do it to generate more sales. We do it because it's the right thing to do. And
yeah,
if that leads to more sales, great. That's
yeah.
awesome. But
Well,
we're going
when
to
you
do it
do the
whether we
right
feel better or
things. you
not.
know, when you do the right things, it usually comes back to you, and that's just the reality. But
Yeah.
I love that. How about yeah, what were some of the early challenges? Obviously, we talked about the making the decision to go all in, but what were some of the things where you said not everything worked? What are some of the things that maybe didn't work that you had to kind of struggle through?
Yeah, there's a long list. I mean, long list
We'll
of
just do
things.
the top one or two, you know.
Yeah. One that comes to mind is, early on, I can remember we had a big launch planned for our summer as our biggest launch of the year. Um, and we got the product delivered, and the product had issues in the lens.
Mm,
And it was a challenging one because it wasn't like the lens was snapped in half. It wasn't a black and white decision of we cannot sell these or we can sell these. It was just a little bit of a defect that in reality, when we would have people try these on, most people couldn't even identify what it was. Most people actually said, these seem fine to me. But
yeah.
we knew that they weren't just right. And it was a difficult decision. We had 14 pallets, tens of thousands of sunglasses as our biggest launch of the year, but we knew that they were probably only 90%, like 90% quality level, and we really need that to be 100%. So we spent a lot of time testing, wearing them ourselves, me and my brother and our team, and ultimately what it came back to make this decision, right? Financially, it would have been the right move to just sell them. And maybe there's a slightly higher return rate, right? And maybe there's some customers that notice it. But what we knew is, right, a focus on people, like I was talking about. And it's
Yeah.
what's the right decision for the customer? The right decision for the customer is to only get them product that we believe in and that we know is good.
Mm,
So made the difficult decision to say, we're not going to sell this. And despite that being our big launch for the year, or one of our big launches for the year, we scrapped that product and weren't able to launch that until the following year.
mm,
So things like that. Another one is around COVID. COVID
yeah.
was obviously a big challenge, but also in some ways it shifted the landscape so fast that it it was difficult, but it also created an environment that us being especially smaller at that time
You're right.
can move very fast and we can pivot very fast. And we use the analogy sometimes that, a lot of large companies are kind of like an ocean cruiser in the ocean. We're like a speedboat. So
Yeah.
if a storm comes, the ocean cruiser won't get quite as affected, right? It's probably going
Yeah.
to kind of push through and it can't really turn hard, but like it's also not going to be like crazy in the waves. Us as a speedboat, the storm's going to affect us a little bit more, but also we can turn and we can find the right route to get through it.
Yeah.
So that's what we did in COVID. And we had done a few things right where about 6 months before COVID, we reinvented our supply chain in terms of how we
Mm,
order inventory and
yeah.
uh, and ordered way more about 5 or 6 months before COVID, way more inventory than we had ever ordered in the past, in order to save supply chain costs and to help our in stock percentage for customer availability. And uh, and when COVID hit, many customers were running out of inventory and were in positions where they were out of stock. And right, supply chain issues was all over
Yeah.
the news.
Oh yeah.
We had just gotten the biggest delivery that had ever gotten in the history of the company. And it was also a world where there was many people that were laid off from work. They were home. They were still getting a paycheck. As they were at home, not working, more people were on
Yeah.
social media more often and created this marketing environment to
Yeah.
where
You were in the sweet spot right
we
there.
were in the sweet spot and we could actually get more ads for less cost to more people, had the inventory to support it, and ended up growing significantly in 2020 with great efficiency. And actually, that year, then because of that growth, put us onto the Inc. 5000 fastest growing companies in America as one of the
Yeah.
fastest eyewear
Yeah. I
companies.
think that's when I became aware of you guys.
There you go. There you
Yeah, it was
go.
right around
Fun.
that time.
I thought I saw your order come through. I knew your name looked familiar.
Well, and I told you this before, and even more now. My next pair is going to be a Shady Rays. I've already picked out the model and everything. I know what I want. I've always been kind of I say always. In the last 20 plus years, I've been kind of a sunglass snob. And I love Maui gems. But they're great lenses. But and this actually was going to be a question. So when I first bought Maui gems, they had a replacement
Hmm.
deal where, like, if you cracked them or they got scratched up or just whatever, you could replace them for like $75 or something like that. You sent them in and they called it repair, but you got a new pair. It
Yeah.
wasn't. It was obviously not the same pair. And they did that. I did that once or maybe twice, in say over a 10-year period. and then they don't do that anymore. And I assume it became cost prohibitive to them for whatever reason. Uh, you're obviously you and your brother are intelligent people, and you've kind of got this, middle market replacement deal. Do you have any concerns about that, that model having to shift or change over time as you guys grow? Because I mean, it seems like that's going to be uh, a big financial commitment long term.
No, I really don't because that's a differentiator for us. It's something that sets us apart. It's something that, when we have customers uh, that may, if you think of our customers as kind of a bell curve, we have a lot of customers that are super fans. They love Shady Rays. We
Yeah,
have some customers that maybe don't love Shady Rays much, but a lot of our customers are kind of in the middle where they are a big fan, right? But they need sunglasses, they buy sunglasses. When we have people that then experience the problem that we're solving, which is lost and broken, and a lot of people will think Lost and Shady Rays doesn't actually do Lost and Broken. Like there's going to be loopholes. I'm gonna have to be on the phone for 5 hours. I'm gonna have to fill out a bunch of forms.
mm,
Uh, there's going to be all these hidden things happening. And then they come to the website or they reach out to us and see how fast and easy it is. And by the way, when that replacement order gets placed, our fulfillment team doesn't even know what's a replacement and what's not. It just filters right through like anything else.
right.
Go to the
Yeah,
back of the line and wait a week. It's out just like any other order is. So when they experience that, that's able to take a lot of our customers and put them into a different, category of like they're really engaged with the brand at that point in a lot of cases.
yeah,
And that may inspire people to then tell their friends about Shady Rays, to talk about their experience. And, despite the fact that, this replacement program isn't bringing in, or it's not like this is some kind of financial motivator for the company, but what it does do
mm,
it is it comes back to people and it gives the customer a great experience. And what we
yeah,
believe and have seen is that when we can give the best experience possible to a customer, it comes back. It comes back and it creates, a positive business result that helps the customer and helps the business at the same time.
yeah. That's awesome. So let's just kind of do the crystal ball thing, So you got a great story, great growth. What's next for you guys? What's the next big uh, you know moment that you're going to say, yeah, we just made that next big leap? What is that for you?
Yeah, that's a good question. That's a good question. I mean, we're always working on a multitude of things. So, I mean, without going into too much detail, we're scoping out what different retail store locations could be so we can continue to be where our customers are.
Okay.
We continue to look at products and determining what products the customer needs. And when we've done that recently with some specific products, we had launched a golf line specifically
Yeah.
technology for golfers. We launched a fishing line for technology for fishermen. Um, so we're listening to our customers to determine what is it that people really, really want, really need, and making sure that we're designing products for them. And then we continue to just look internally to make sure that our team is the best that we can be, and that comes with the people on our team. It also comes with the processes and how we are aligned as a business to
Mm.
see the overarching goal and vision of the company and ensure that our teams are all working together and aligned to accomplish those goals. And we're doing that in some cool ways. We're putting a lot of emphasis this year on breaking down our goals. We're going to taking our vision, our overall company goals, but having each team specify for the year what are the goals for their department and the people on their
Right.
team. Why
Yeah.
do why are those goals important? And then breaking them down by quarter to see, what are those key milestones throughout the year, and then
Mhm.
using that in many cases, literally physically putting on their walls so that goals don't fall out of sight and out of mind, but instead are
Yeah.
there in front of them and are an active part of their everyday
Yeah.
work.
That's awesome. It's awesome. So as we wrap up, love this conversation. We could probably go for another hour, but you and I have other things we need to do. So I always like just, what would be one piece of advice to some, that young guy out there that's in college that has his has his dream of a side gig that might turn into something. What piece of advice would you give to, that guy sitting out there, or young lady that's
Yeah.
thinking of that as well?
Yeah, that's a great question. And there's a lot of ways I could answer this question with a lot of different things, but there's one specific thing that is very simple, but I think is very powerful, whether it's somebody in the position that you just talked about, right? Somebody just kind of starting out and thinking, or if it's somebody who's more experienced in their career. But it starts with really getting clear on where it is you're trying to go and looking
Mhm.
forward down the road and trying to kind of start with the end in mind. But
Yeah.
think about what that vision or long-term goal is. And
Yeah.
also, by the way, like that may change over time. That's okay. But at least put something out there of where you want to go and then put down on paper the key steps that it'll take to get there. It doesn't have to be anything fancy or it doesn't have to be some long, detailed business plan, but just what are the top two or three or maybe up to 7 or 8 things that are necessary to get you there. And
Yeah.
the other thing that I think is especially important with this, and this would more specifically answer your question, is I think a lot of people do that in some way, shape, or form if they're a goal-oriented person. The thing that I have found through a lot of people that I've talked to and businesses I've worked with is once you have those things established, put them somewhere where you see them every day. And some people will talk about, oh, write it on your mirror, put a post on your
Yeah.
dashboard. For
Right.
me, my goals are a little bit more complex and something I can fit on one post-it or right onto my mirror. Um, so I use a kind of goal tracking organizer,
Yeah.
um, and it's extremely useful for me. But for me, right, if I were to show you these walls, I have my goals broken out. They're clarified and they're visible so that when I have a million things going on, and there's all fires to put out or a bunch of emails or a bunch of things going on, there's a million things I could do. But
Yeah.
what I need to be sure is I know I can't do everything, but I will make sure I do the things that are posted there,
Yeah.
that are in front of me. And if I can keep those things front of my top of mind,
Mhm.
then when I get down the road and get to that future state, I want to make sure I don't look back and think, man, I know I was busy, but I wasn't really working on the right things. I need to make sure that I'm doing the things that are most important to get where I know I need to go.
Yeah, yeah, that's cool. And that uh, clarity and simplicity are two of my themes on in my coaching because
Yeah,
if you have to pull out volumes and pages to explain to me your business plan or your strategic plan, then you don't have clarity and probably you're not going to remember it.
exactly right. And just for reference, like that, the tool that I use, which is overwhelmingly helpful for me, it's called Visible, and the website
Yeah.
is getvisible.com, and it's a tool
I
that I
still have it up here from from
oh
when we
amazing.
spoke before. Yeah.
Nice. Yeah, I have them all over my walls. I have one for personal, one for work, and it's yeah, getvisible.com, and it is a very simple tool that does kind of exactly what I just talked about and is helps me tremendously, whether it's personal or professional, to make sure that the things that I'm working on are the right things.
Yeah, yeah, that's great. It's great. Well, Dan, thank you so much for your time. I've like I said, I've been a kind of watching you guys for a few years, and I'm just thrilled to be able to get to know you a little bit here. Thoroughly impressed, and encourage everybody to check out Shady Rays and buy some because it's great to also know that it's going to help the community and feed people and build play sets and all that kind of stuff as well. That just makes me love the product even more. So I appreciate that.
Amazing. Well, John, thanks so much for having me on. Great talking with you today.
Absolutely. Thank you for listening to today's episode. If you liked it, please share or like it on whatever platform you use. You can find me on social media. On most platforms, I'm John K. Jennings. My first book is also available. Your Baby is Ugly tells you about 10 truths that business owners need to hear, but often won't, and how to overcome them. You can find it on Amazon. Just search for Your Baby is Ugly. And be watching for our next episode where I'll interview another business owner who will share their stories and insights into what it's like to create a great business.